Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. As part of good morning. As part of JDE ongoing enhancement toward digitalization and operation intelligence, today's webinar will cover a new and enhanced feature related to JDE automation dashboards. So, what is JDE automation dashboard? Automation dashboard acts as a real-time visual command center that help streamline business operation, improve system oversight, and reduce manual reporting. They leverage JDE native tools such as widgets, which will be going to drill down into the detail of them. Process modeler also, again, will drill down into the detail of the process modeler with the enhancement that it holds. JD Edwards EnterpriseOne Orchestrator, the notification, watch list, workflow monitor, and the orchestrator monitor. Actually, the dashboard combine all of these together to provide a better insight. So these dashboards actually turns complex data and processes information into an actionable insight. Always, when we say we turn these information into actionable insight, we talk about or we concentrate about the 5-step cycle, which is the ingest, which is the incoming data that's been entered by the end user, the modeling part, which are the orchestration build, the widgets created, the process modeler also created and built accordingly. So this is also under the hat of the system administrator. Then we come to the analysis part. Okay, these are held usually by the power user of a department, of course, and the measuring as well, because it's analyzed and measured. It's an ongoing process that keeps going. And then also we have the monitor and control. Monitor and control, here we're talking about monitoring our business processes and controlling our business processes. So these are usually also under the hat of the business analyst, or it can be also the power user depending on the organization structure. Dashboard content can vary depending on the intended user or audience. As we can see, since we have multiple hats involved altogether, which is a regular coordination in any organization. This slide shows a composite page, for example, for an end user or a power user. Why it's either or? Because as you can see, it displays the flow of the procure to pay cycle, the whole flow. Maybe for the end user, you want to make it more specific, only the people who are entering the purchase order will see purchase order entered some inquiry, the approver will see his approval, so on and so forth. Usually, why we say power user? Power user because he's a person in the department who should always have a view of the overall cycle. This new features, as you can see here on this page, of course, we will see them live. It's divided different sections. You have the regular icons that you see on the composite page. You have the text fields. These text fields, they're very important because they provide an insight, some guidelines or some insight about each activity or each single step, what would it include. Also, I can highlight the ownership as an example that we're using here. The other sections are represented by the graphs, as you can see below. These graphs are known as widgets. They replace the UX charts previously used in JDE of the analytic part. These widgets, the power of these widgets that they are configurable. Configurable because whoever used to work on the previous releases of JDE knows that UX charts were predefined, rigid, very difficult to customize and build. You can only play with the data using the queries that are built on JD Edwards. While here, the widget part, that is the new enhanced graphs and charts of JDE, they are built based on orchestrations. When we say based on orchestration, I can say that the sky is the limit. You can mimic data, prepare the data set the way that you want, and then present it in a configurable way. Also, again, we will drill down into these during our demos. Another type of dashboard can support business analysis and process control, as you can see here. Okay, so what does this dashboard include? Here, what we have is the process modeler. Okay, it includes the process modeler, the widgets, and some analytics that are embedded in the process modeler itself. This provides a complete view of the process bottlenecks and help identify unnecessary steps. We'll discuss this also in details. The key enhancement when talking about process modeler, especially for the teams who have worked on the process modeler, the previous release. Process modeler, as you know, was introduced in release 25 of JD Edwards. In the new release, which is release 26, the enhancement is that now it's built based on not only predefined template, it is configurable. You can set the parameters the way that you want. You can create your analytical part on the process modeler, which is this part, the analytics, based on the tables that you want. You can select the views, the tables, as whether custom, standard in the system. In addition to that, there is also, you can build it based on logic extension and orchestration. So this means anything that we have a third-party system working integrated with JDE, this now supports the ability to bring this data through or from a third-party system as well. Today, we will highlight the widgets. We'll be discussing mainly the widget and the process modeler, focusing on how easy configurable process design and how this helps in analyzing our day-to-day processes. So let's move, guys, to our system demo. Okay. I will log in. So as we were discussing, the first dashboard is eventually the dashboard representing the procure to pay cycle. As you can see here, let me make it a bit bigger so it's easier. So it is the procure to pay cycle, which shows the simple flow, a simple flow. We all know that our cycles usually internal organization is as complex, extremely complex, mostly. But this is a simple flow that you can start with and you can build on top of it as you go. Here, these are the text forms that we have just described. So these are nothing but a tile of type text, and you just type in. They are formatted text. So as you can see, I can change color, underline, put bullet points, whatever I want, I can manage it accordingly. And I can set a description on each and every activity to facilitate the use of this dashboard for the end users or for the power users. We understand that this was the process set design and this is what each step represents, and case by case where the users needs to go. Let me move to the important part about regarding the charts and the widget, which is one of the main subjects of today. These widgets, as you can see, they are graphics. I can set different and multiple types and design, as you can see here. Here, the option I have also, it's a scrollable because it's grouped by dates. Not only that, I can have the option on these graphs in case, let's say, we said these models are created by system administrator. Maybe the system administrator not too much involved in the detailed process. So the business wants to change the name of the graph. So easily they can go in, select to override the title and set the title the way that you want. This is also in the old UX charts was one of the constraints. So now you can also the same thing, you can have the ability to have a drill down option on the level of the graph. So here, if I click on the past due purchase orders, I can click on it. So it opens for me the related inquiry application and form with the related filters to see all the past due orders. So these are keeping the links all together. So here, if we want to look a bit about one step, the big picture, What is the big picture over here? So we have the overall process, as you can see. Then, and each step, for example, I'm creating orders, and then I'm printing, approving them, sending them to the supplier, getting the approval, and then I want to receive. I see that I have many here on this graph. This is the first analytical part. I see many orders past due. Past due, it means the promised delivery date was set to be received by the end of this month, while it still needs 1 week pending. And not only that, in this case, this graph shows the trend is by which supplier. So I can see that the highest supplier who always causes delays for me is Parts Emporium. Okay, so if I want to move further into, let's check a bit, talk about the pending approval. Also, part of the step is the approvals of these orders. So I'm sending these, or I'm creating the orders as a buyer or a purchasing officer, and then these orders should all go to approval. I come here to this small graph here, and you can see that this shows me that I have the order pending for approval with a percentage held with which approval. And here, as I can see that I have almost 76.7%. This is the larger number of orders that has been pending for approval with Samuel. Maybe we need to facilitate more to Samuel's work so he's able to process these orders. Or then I might call the guy and ask him what is the main issue that is causing all these orders to go pending there. So these are the insights that we are actually talking about. And again, as I was saying, this is a simple example for how much detail you can go into the analysis. Let's go one step in detail regarding the widgets. The widgets are created, of course, on the Orchestration Studio. I know for all the business units, I will not go into the technicality. So just to show you the definitions on it. So these are the widget designs. Let's go and check. This is one of the widgets I have already created. So here, what do I have? I have the definition of my chart, the data source, and the preview. This is it. So in the definition, as you can see, I'm defining what is the chart type. So I have all of these different chart types that I can use. Not only the chart type, I have the widget type as well. Like here, for this specific demo, we chose to choose all of them as chart. But you have meter, you can use badges, you can use text boxes as well. And you tell me why you want to use text boxes from the widgets, maybe not do it like a regular text on the composite page, as we saw, the small text that was showing above the tile. I will tell you because here it's an orchestration based, so I have more option to prepare a large data set with additional criteria and filtration and grouping and even formulas, and retrieve back the text based on this data. So that's why we might choose, for example, to use a text box from here rather from the regular small description that we are using. Also at this section, surely this is the title of the graph that I am embedding. Here I have link. So also when we say link, this is the drill down option. Remember when we clicked on the header part of the graph here? When I clicked here, it redirected me to an application. Okay, so this is the form. So this is the drill down option that you can set on any graph. You can choose to set a drill down option and you can choose not to set them. So also here, when we're talking about configuration, everything is configured in such a way. Let's move a bit to the data source. So with the first section, we defined how I want the look and feel of my chart to be. Bars, pie chart, area, any types of the given chart. At this level, I want to select eventually, now it comes more into the data, what I want to display on this chart. So as you can see here, I have the actually four different options, which is I have the orchestration that I'm using, because we said actually earlier that these are based on orchestration data service request, if I want to go a bit more into detail. So I'm creating a data service request. It can be one, it can be multiple, depend how big your orchestration is created to combine the data that you want and present it on this chart. The input value, I will come to that in a different example. You can have the option to add an input value for also on the graph. The output values, these are actually defined based on my orchestration that I want the grouping and the labels. So here also what I don't want to define them here. My output values, what I want to define them is the chart data over there. So here I'm saying what is the value. So and for this approval, I am displaying the total number of orders, not lines, because count distinct, so total number of orders, okay, per the responsible person. So this is what the chart will display, and this is what we saw over here that is being displayed. Let me go back to the home page. Over here, this is exactly what we saw. Okay, so this is how we did the configuration such a way. The preview, it's a very nice option because everything that is you're building it. It's based on a data set that you have put the option for it. So you want to put some preview. You want to see it. What is the output? Is it correct? It's displaying the data. It's not displaying the data then properly, and how the look and feel is being displayed on the graph. So this is the use of the preview. And of course, yes, people who already are working with orchestrations will tell me, but already I can test that on the orchestration level. Yes, but you'll get that in more JSON output. Here you want to see it as a display output. So this is the difference also between the two uses. Okay. Let me go back here. If you see, I have another type of chart. Also, this is a bar chart. But now here you see there is an input value. So anything that's related to orders, we might have multiple types or order types in one organization. We have different job purchases, office purchases, subcontractors, imported, exported, so every type of purchases. Maybe I don't want to hard code them, or I don't want to create multiple graphs for each one of them because it will be too much information set on one dashboard. So what we want to do, we want to create an input value. So this is the option of the input or the advantage of the input value. You can have one graph and then you can display the total orders that are related by order type. Let's giving a different example. Each order type, when you put it, you refresh it to say the display. You see the display of data related to that specific order type. Here we chose to put more order dates because I'm using a demo instance, so the number of records are huge. So we chose to put some order dates accordingly. Okay. So we chose to put the order dates accordingly. So here, as you can see, I can change. This is the default, one of the default dates. Let me put it from 2022, and then I just choose to refresh my option. And as you can see, my graph changed. This shows the total orders by date per customer, per supplier. This is procure to pay, so per supplier. As you can see, so this is how it comes. The difference that we have is that when I come to set up here on the composite page, this graph, I will have the option, of course, this one we already saw, to override the title in case needed. Here, the input, you can set the default value for it, or you can leave it blank. But again, because in my specific environment that I'm working with, I have huge amount of records, so I decided to set a specific default value. So not each time this page needs to load, it needs to load everything and takes some time to load. So that's why I had set a default value. Also, these again are example. I know each one of you might have his and their own case-by-case scenario, so it will be applied accordingly. Since we're talking about the data input or the inputted field, let's go back to another example, another widget example. So here, so again, here nothing changed. Okay. Okay. So here, again, the definition, nothing changed. I changed here a bit the layout, so it's area. Sorry, I told you it was bar. It's an area set. And the orientation, if I wanted stacking or non-stacking. So all of these, the formatting, again, this is configurable. The link, I chose. So we changed it, we can change it accordingly. Let's go to the data source because here what I wanted to show you. So here in this case, my orchestration had an input value. Why? Because in this case, I want somebody to key in an input value, which I'll be using it as a filter. So my input value is a filtration on the data set that I have created. I defined here what is the input value. I can give it a name because, again, this is technicality in the design, the model, the modeling part. So this is my value. Yes, I want it to be required because in my case, as we were discussing, I have huge amount of data. So I want to limit down the data selection that I have. And again, this is the chart data display. The moment that I said that I have an input value, automatically my graph, whenever I choose to set this widget here on my composite page, it comes with the option of the input value. Can I have multiple input value? Of course, yes. Again, it goes all back to the designing of that orchestration and how you're building your data service request as well. Okay. Remember when we started the session, we said that the modeling part as one of the five steps of our cycle, the model part is used by system admin. This is for those reasons. As you can see, I have a display of graphs. They're very interesting, but yes, I need a system administrator to create it. He doesn't need to be a technical, no. But a system admin in a terminology that he can build these logic all together. Okay, so this is regarding widgets. Now, one small and very interesting feature when it comes to creating these automation dashboards is the connectivity between the different pages that we have or the different dashboards that we have. For example, I can have 3-4 dashboards. Maybe for the page display, it's too much, or maybe because if I want to put it for a how I will use it like not a department power user. Maybe I have more. I have a business analyst department in my organization. So the business analyst department. Maybe here, what I will choose to build. I will choose to build one automation for the procurement. Maybe one for sales, one for manufacturing, one for capital asset management as well. And then these pages, instead of having them too condensed with context and content, I can divide them into separate pages and create a link between them in such a way. So this procurement automation dashboard will now redirect me to the process monitor dashboards. In the process monitor dashboard, again here, we said these type of dashboards in the example that we are sharing, they are more used for business analyst or process control. Again, the definition of the hats depends on each of one organization structure. But usually we put how it is in the best practice set. So here we have, so what does this composite page includes? This composite page includes an overview of our process. Also, this is the procure to pay process. Here, as you can see, it highlights more on the number of records, where the records are getting stuck, and we will discuss and how the different alerts are showing. So with the analytical also section that is shown to the right bar over here. Again, down, this is preference. I set also some of the widgets that might be beneficial for the process controller as well. Let's drill down a bit to the process modeler. So what is, again, a process modeler? We said this is defines your processes. It gives you an insight of the whole process. So we have the power user who is more involved on the different actions set on the specific composite page with the values that he's reading, whether it's okay or not okay, the process controller is more into the process itself. Yani, for example, he doesn't care if the orders are pending for approval or they are, let me put it down, the late orders. He doesn't care about how many number of orders are late and how much the amount that has been delayed as quantity, delayed until now. He cares more to see how much orders is getting stuck at the approval stage and why, and where is the problem that we have internally. So as if you want to look at it as segregations of also duty, I have the power user is more involved in the business. And of course, you tell me both of them are business, true, but more involved in the business and the day-to-day action, the day-to-day activity. While the process controller is involved also in the business, but on the internal flow of events to see where I have bottlenecks. If I have a list of orders, that big amount pending for approval with that, and I have here, for example, a small widget showing me the big percentage is pending with which approver, then maybe I know where I need to target to resolve or to provide a solution for that issue that I want. Another type of or use of this process modeler might be, as you can see here, of course, because this is a demo instant, I have my cycle should be, I create my purchase order, I approve my orders, I print them, I receive them, okay, print the purchase receiving document, and this is how my cycle will complete. It's one flow of event. But over here, I can see that I have different flows of event. I have an order that's going directly to printing, bypassing approval. I see orders that are going and getting stuck in approval, and very few of them are going to printing. So this is a bottleneck. I see orders going directly to record the purchase receiving without going neither printing nor approval. So this for a process control, this highlights that I have issues or red flags. Let me not call them issues. I have red flags at these points. So what might happen? What we are doing or what we can enhance to facilitate. Yani if the people are calling the sysadmin or the power user to bypass status, it means that I have maybe stages in this cycle that is of no use and creating issues, delaying the process, and it does not add any value to my whole process. Some people would like not to print the PO at all, because for them, the purchase order agreement is an email with the supplier rather than the internal purchase order that is printed from the JDE. Other people might choose not to approve everything. Maybe, for example, if I validate between these two, the items that are going directly for approval are orders maybe less than 1,000. Depends on anything that above 1,000 will go to approval. Also, not to create a bottleneck with the approvals, so to give some ownership back to the users as they go with it. Okay? And as for the orders that are going directly to receiving, maybe these are back orders. So this is the type of analysis that exactly this process modeler provides. Okay? In addition to that, we can set them, as we said, some analytics here. This is order versus received, price versus cost. That will show us more how good we are doing on each and every level. Let me open or drill down. This is for the process modeler on the composite page. Let me drill down to the process modeler itself here. Okay. So here I'm drilling down further into detail the points that I wanted to show as well. These are part of the new enhancements, which are the split view. So I can create a comparison view. It can be based on snapshot. I have taken a snapshot for a specific month. It can be comparing two different processes side by side, different companies. If we are a multi-company organization, maybe I want to know, and we have the same procurement flow in the three different companies. Maybe I want to see between this company, and this company, how things are going. Is it optimal? Is it one company it's working, for the other companies it's not? Maybe I need to find a solution or change the process in only the one company, not the other one. So the split through provide you this comparison hierarchy. And as you can see, I can set as many as I want. Let me close them. I remove the split screen accordingly. I will be centered. Okay. Now, let's also go one step further into the actual interesting part now on more assistant administrator level. So this is on a business analyst level. One thing I want to mention as well, we have the filtration. These are predefined parameters, so we can filter. As you can see here, I'm using only these specific items, not everything. So this is part of a filtration that we can use. I can close it, refresh it. Here I have the nodes, the from to, which is the last status, from status to status. This is based on the last status. And of course, if I click on the nodes, so here, eventually, it will change the display of the analytics. Always, I have the analytics divided into 3 sections. The overall analysis of the process, as you can see here. So these are the overall. You can decide what you want to put here. And then also I have on nodes, I have specific analytic that had set on the nodes. And the same thing that happens on the link, which is we said, the nodes are based on the last status. The links are between last and next statuses. So as I can see here, I don't have any analytics. Maybe now we can create some. Okay, and these are the node matrices that defines the red, yellow, or blue if it's fine. So that's why I see them in red, because all the amounts here are greater than 100K. So that's why you see them in red. Like for example, you don't see them in yellow or in blue. So these are types of threshold also that we can define. Okay. So now I will put the hat of assistant admin and let's drill down into the creation or parameterizing how these process modeler or the new enhancement of the process modeler to include the parameters and design. So this is, I will just show you the different option. Of course, I'm not create one for scratch for the sake of the timing. This is the creating part. So before it was always in R25, it was always based on enterprise process templates. Still, these templates are available. If you see that it's easier, better to use the one that are already provided, you can go ahead and use them, the same one that are already provided. Whereas the import and task, these are the predefined templates that comes, and you can download them, of course, from Oracle directly. The other option, the new option, is the user-defined codes. The user-defined code, this is the new enhancement. The user-defined code says that I don't want to use any of these templates that are already provided. We want to build our own parameters the way that we want based on the models that we are working. So maybe we're not only, if I go back to the templates, maybe I don't want to restrict myself to procurement and orders. I want to create a process modeler for manufacturing, for fabrication process. I want to create a process modeler for the capital asset management, lease management, so case management as well. So by having this user-defined option in the process modeler has opened the door for us to do such things. Okay, so let me go back. So this is the user-defined procure-to-pay cycle. So how do I do that? Simply, this is the main definition. In the templates, whenever you say I want to create a new process modeler, it gives you only the filter to configure, which is the order types and the line type, and that's it. You can do nothing else. Why? Because all the other are predefined and defaulted and locked. Here, the option is that we can decide from where we want to work or from where I want to read my processes. Of course, these are the standard processes set up in the system, but you are no longer limited to that. If you have any custom tables that you want to build your processes on, then you can use them. Of course, because you have to follow in general the same chronological logic of the process modeling creation. So here I can use activity rules, I can use the work order for my fabrication, any of these, or I can create any, if I have custom table that I'm using, I can add it and work with it. By default, if I use any of these specific tables that are listed here, it comes, of course, the UDCs comes defaulted. Then I have over here the nodes, the configuration, so I can say what are based on what I'm creating. We all know the main processes when we're talking about procure-to-pay cycle or order-to-cash cycle or even requisitions are based on the last and the next status. So this is the last status, and this is then different next statuses. You can choose, so from 2 nodes, you can choose to put all the other 5, or maybe depending if you use only 3, then remove the other 4 and 5 and put only the 3, like that. You can do that. And then from where it starts, the starting point of my cycle. Is it from enter purchase order? If I have something that comes from outside JDE, then I have to put that starting point there so we can define the starting point of our cycles. Again, here by order type, by line type, we can set it. We can be greater than, it can be equal than, or referring to the main setup. If you notice here also in the filter criteria, we kept it for simplicity, the line type and the order type. You can add as many as you want. So this is also part of the configuration. So you can go and add, if you want the company as well to be part, you can amend it, and so on and so forth. Let me remove them. And the thing, you just click generate and everything will be regenerated accordingly. Here you go. Okay. Let's go back here. So here we're only defining the colors. So maybe I want to keep it standard, this light blue color. Then I move forward. So now I based my process modeler, the start, the end point, the statuses, and the different stages based on the next statuses that I have in the activity rule. If I go to the analytic parts, also these analytic parts, these were locked. You don't have the option to change anything, where now you have the option to define, create your analytics. You can select more than one table, more than one view. So here I have the table, the view, and these are the most 2 important newly added items, which are the orchestration and the logic extensions. Again, this opens the door that you can bring in data, maybe tailored fit from an orchestration, or even if you want to do anything on a specific, with a specific logic, using logic extension and then display it. So this is exactly the advantages here, okay? Here again, to keep it simple, we chose the table that we want to use, and then I set my filter criteria. So if you notice, I have these 3 different sections as we saw. So this is the overall analysis of all the process, and then I can select what records I'm going to see here, and then I can select what records I want to see on the link. So these are the nodes, and these are the links. So here, if I go down, I have set that I want the order and line type. Since it is my cycle definition, so I'm referring it to the cycle definition. The remaining ones, I want them to be parameterized as filters, so that's why I set them as filters, so the user can play around them, or sorry, and the user as a business analyst, process control, or power user can play the filters the way that you want. And that's why I haven't added the company part of the order or as part of the setup, because I want to allow it to be part of the filter. So here we have it such a way. The returned value, so I want my display value to be based on the series type. So here I'm defining the series type based on return value. Also, this is a simple return value. I can go as complex as possible. I have these 2 options. I can use complex condition, I can use variables, and then this variable based my analytics on them. So I'm showing you how much, when we had our previous webinar, and we were showing the process modeler, and we said this is the first step. The future is going to be bigger and will cover wider ranges. So, and here we are today. So here, as you can see, we have all of this list of options that we can use to create our analytics, and that will help us identify and get an insight about the details of our processes. So again, here, what I want to display in the basic return value. So again, I'm displaying the amount and open amount in this case. This is the total amount and the open amount. And below, I can set different graphs. So here I set order versus received amount by items. So based on the items, I'm doing the comparison. And then here, open amount versus, sorry, this is the open order amount and open quantity by supplier, and I'm grouping by supplier. So this is the build that I have set. Of course, I can add another analytic based on another table and view here. Any table, I can set it accordingly. When I move to the nodes, so it's the same thing, but here, depending where I want to see these analytics that I'm creating. Here, I'm seeing it on the overall process. Let me go to see the preview of this cycle. Okay, so whatever I defined here, I'm seeing the analytics here over here. Whatever I defined at the node level here, I see them when I click on the node. Okay. So I see them when I actually click on the node over here. So this is how I defined my my analytics. And then I still have the links. For example, if I want to set the links here, I want to see the analytics. Now we don't have any. Let's do one very quickly together. So the links I have missing, correct. I can see that I have set all the filters correctly and the returned value. So, and this is the group, the last and the next status. I will add here maybe a graph, a small chart. Let's make it by supplier. So total orders by supplier, I can search. This is the AN8, or you can put, sorry for that, address book. So also, and you can define which of these address book, the chart name. So you can call this supplier. Okay. So here it is, vertical automatic. So now it should display me the total order amount by supplier. Let me go back to the preview. And as you can see here, now I can see the total amounts by suppliers. Okay, so this is how quickly and very easily I just amended. Again, these are the filters defined. So again, these are the enhancement here show us that now we have more control on how we want to build our process modeler. Let me give you, just because somehow most of the time we're doing some comparison. Let me go to the Proc to Pay. This is based on template, a predefined template, enterprise procure to pay templates. Okay, so if you see here, I don't have, everything is great. This is what we're talking about. First, this is how it was. Okay, so it was locked. I cannot change anything. I cannot do anything with them. I can just only check what are the filter criteria to understand how I'm reading the data. The only option, even here, if I go to the design option, these setup are linked, allows you the first time you can modify them or add them, and then you can no longer change them. While and even here, see, it comes all grayed out. I can no longer change them. So this was a bit not a constraint. These are because when it was first introduced, it was based on templates, and this is how templates work. They provide you the template and you use it. That's it. Where if I go and quickly do a very quick comparison now. So here it is. This is my order, my process modeler. Okay. If I go to the setup, I can change it easily. Let's put it with, I wanted the OR document type. Okay. Let's preview. Of course, now everything will change. You know why? Because all my statuses and setup is based on the activity rules of the orders, meaning, let me go back here. I'm starting from, if I put it to start from, for example, the position entry. Now I would say generate. And of course, because not all the analytics are there, so I have to build them correctly. But this is a small example. I changed it directly to the requisition model. Okay. Let me close. So this is the process modeler manager or the enterprise process manager. Okay. This is a composite page where I can embed my processes and to create the automation dashboard based on what I have set up over there. Okay. So that's all for me. Hope you liked it and you saw it very interesting. For me, I see it. Yes, it is interesting. Yes, you might need some time to work and decide how you want to build the processes or these dashboard. Because as we're saying today, we illustrated one simple example from for the procure to pay cycle. But again, you can go detailed as much as you want. You might choose to have it as a dashboard, maybe on somehow management level, like to see only the graphical displays. Okay. Without having the process flow included, and maybe this one will be used with or by management. Yes, you are also able to do that.